It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Tuesday, the 2nd of July. I'm Michael Groff. The main story around here will revolve around the heat. Temperatures not only above average, but up into the excessive heat criteria all the way through the first half of next week. We could be challenging some record high temperatures along the way. But what about monsoon activity? We'll talk about that, plus that all-important 4th of July forecast as we dive on in and discuss. First, the almanac from yesterday, 109 was the afternoon high, 86 the morning low, averages at 107 and 83, and we did pick up 0.03 of an inch of rain officially in the bucket at Sky Harbor very early in the morning yesterday. Probably won't be seeing any rain anytime soon, and as for that 109, believe it or not, that might turn out to be the coolest high temperature we have for at least the next week, and probably well beyond that. Looking outside right now, here at 12:40 p.m., we've got a few clouds, 108 degrees presently at Sky Harbor, dew point 58, humidity 20%, a light wind, and the barometer is falling. The upper level weather pattern across the nation, that area of high pressure that we were on the western periphery of in recent days is scooted off to the east. It's now over the southeast U.S. and the Gulf Coast. And now the deeper monsoon moisture is pushing off to the east thanks to a trough passing by to the north of us. And off to our west, we've got another ridge building in, and that's going to turn the flow aloft out of the northwest and the north. Ultimately, it's already beginning to do so. And so the moisture is going to get pushed out of here, and the heat is going to be turned all the way up over the next several days. Speaking of, we've got an excessive heat watch in effect for us now, and that's from 10 a.m. on Thursday, July 4th, all the way through 8 p.m. on Tuesday, the 9th of July, and that will likely be upgraded to an excessive heat warning later today or tomorrow by the National Weather Service. Speaking of, we've got those excessive heat warnings over the Mojave Desert, parts of Southern California, and that extends all the way up into the valleys of California, the Great Basin. Heat is going to be a big story out here in the West, and unfortunately, that's also going to probably lead to some stories about wildfires, so we have to be concerned about that too. Heat also a problem elsewhere over parts of the Gulf Coast and the southern and central plain states. Convective outlook for today, that enhanced risk of severe storms over portions of Kansas, Missouri, southern Iowa. The broader severe weather risk over a good portion of the nation's midsection. In Arizona, parts of the state in the green. And technically, based on this SPC graphic, here in Phoenix, we're in the green as well. Thunderstorms possible, although I would say the risk for us is extremely low. Not in our forecast. Chances of any rain here in Phoenix are well under 10%. So we're not going to concern ourselves with that. And any storms that do develop would be over the higher terrain of northern and eastern Arizona. And even at that, they'll be widely scattered in nature. All right, checking the tropics in the Atlantic Basin. Obviously, the big story is not that wave out of the eastern Atlantic. It is Beryl. It is the earliest we have ever had a Category 5 hurricane in the Atlantic Basin. We're now moving into the Caribbean, and this is an absolute monster of a storm. Now, you can see on the satellite presentation that the storm is a little bit asymmetrical now, with the deeper layered convection mostly off to the east of the eye. This is going through kind of a reorganization phase, potentially, but don't let that fool you. This is still a beast. This is still a Category 5. Top winds 165 miles per hour. And we continue to send these reconnaissance aircraft out there. And despite the somewhat less symmetrical presentation on the satellite picture, this is still just an incredible hurricane. Devastation in the islands that it's already passed over. And of course, we've got a hurricane warning for Jamaica. And obviously some strong winds for the islands of the Caribbean as this continues to move to the west-northwest. Now, it is expected to weaken as it approaches the Yucatan Peninsula. This will impact Belize and Mexico, but still, this will be likely a Category 1 or 2 hurricane once it makes landfall over there. Then it emerges out into the Gulf, the Bay of Campeche, and where it goes from there is a little bit more uncertain. Looking at some of the modeling here, this is the tropical set, the ATCF set on this. Good clustering until we get out there through the Yucatan. And then we got one member that takes this up toward New Orleans or just east of New Orleans. You got another one that takes it up there toward Houston and Sabine Pass area, others toward the Texas coast, some toward the coast of Mexico. And we see this also as we look at the GFS ensemble. and the European ensemble. The mean is the black line there. And there is definitely indication that this could track a little bit further to the north and potentially impact the United States, but as a much, much weaker system, so it appears. But what do we always tell you about this stuff? You just have to watch it. Keep your eyes on what's going on here. Keep to those trusted sources of information. It's all over the socials. There's a lot of misinformation out there. It's just amazing what people will post and what people will say. And it's remarkable. All right. Well, we'll talk about that another day. Meanwhile, closer to home, the precipitation outlook, this is valid through Tuesday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix, probably nothing or very little, if anything. And only precipitation really to be found across the state over the east central mountains, the White Mountains, and into southeast Arizona and along our southern border, the international border. And really, rain amounts 1/4 to 1/2 inch at best in most spots. Obviously, any one storm can produce more than that, but the monsoon is going to be on a break for the most part across the area, and it's going to stay that way for a while. Just how long? Well, we'll talk about that right now as we get to the models. Take a look. This is the GFS. It is the 12Z run, and this is valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. High pressure over the southeast U.S., troughing in the northern plains, ridge off the west coast that is strengthening and is beginning to influence our weather with a drier northwesterly flow. And what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, we're looking at mostly sunny and hot. Highs 108 to 112. Yeah, we'll see widely scattered to scattered showers and thunderstorms along the eastern mountains of our state, southeast Arizona, but that's going to stay far away from us. Now, could there be an isolated little pop-up storm here over the lower deserts? Yes. But the potential, the risk of that here in Phoenix is really low, and that's why we just haven't put it in the forecast. But I guess somebody, someplace here across south central Arizona might see a storm this afternoon. For tonight, mostly clear sky, overnight lows, low 80s to low 90s. Tomorrow, it's more the same. Highs 107 to 112. The sky mostly sunny, just widely scattered showers and storms across east central to southeast Arizona. All right, let's go to the 4th of July. High pressure building in from the west. The flow aloft is out of the north and northwest. That's going to push any moisture away from us. And the heat is getting switched up. High temperatures around 110 to 114. The record high for the 4th of July is 118. We've seen that a few times through the years, but we're not going to be quite there, but it will still be above average temperature-wise here. Friday, sunny, very hot. Highs 112 to 116. We'll see pretty much the same forecast over the weekend. Highs might back off a degree at best, but we're still looking at anywhere from 110 to 115 on any given day, Saturday, Sunday. And storm chances will be less and less each day, virtually non-existent. Again, maybe a storm over southeast or east central Arizona, but even there, not much of a risk. Monday, more or less the same thing. This ridge is going to sit just to the north and west of us, and upper heights anywhere from 594 to 597 decameters, and that's just hot. And with very dry air, with the northerly flow, kind of a downsloping flow, I just think it is going to cook here with highs close to 115 officially here in Phoenix. And yeah, for the deserts of southeast California and southwest Arizona, high temperatures could push very close to 120. Death Valley could easily see 120 from all this, and perhaps hotter than that. I would say maybe closer to 122 to 124, 125, something like that, with the ridge being almost right on top of them. All right, here's a week from today. This is Tuesday the 9th. Still, big ridge here over the southwest. Now, you do see the negative height anomalies over Texas. That's the GFS with its eventual track of Beryl taking it into Texas. But unfortunately, with that ridge sitting where it is, that moisture will not make its way toward us. You've got the 597 ridge that's sitting just to the northwest of Las Vegas. And in that configuration, again, a dry northerly flow, maybe northeasterly flow. Sometimes that can be a beneficial flow if we get storms developing off the mountains, pushing into the lower deserts, but we're just not going to see that for the most part, at least not for the first half of next week. So in this setup, high temperatures will still be 111 to 115 for us. Going out 10 days, This is Thursday the 11th. The ridge is taking more of a position to the north of us, and the flow aloft may start to switch more out of the east, which could import moisture into the region for a chance of mainly late afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. We'll have to see, but temperatures would still be quite toasty in that setup. All right, looking at rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble out through the 16th of July, and this does not look all that promising, at least not in the short term. Maybe some rain chances start to come in out there toward about 10 days. The ensemble mean is under a half an inch. The European ensemble is less optimistic. The ensemble mean is barely over a tenth of an inch, and there's quite a few members that show no rain at all in the next 2 weeks. And looking at temperatures off the national blend of models, not going to say those expletives that I said when I first looked at this earlier while I was preparing this video, but you kind of know what I'm thinking, I'm sure. I can hear what you're saying when looking at this. I know what Michelle is saying looking at this graphic right now, and, I can see into the future. I can hear the words. Oh, the first one starts with F, and maybe the next few start with F, and my name gets thrown in there someplace as well. And let me just say this. I don't make the weather. I just talk about it. I wish I had something to do with the weather, because if I did, we'd see rain and much, much cooler temperatures, but that's not in the cards right now, at least. And that is going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. I said if you like the videos, not necessarily what is being depicted by these graphics, just, the videos themselves. That's all. If you really like what we do here, you can click that thanks icon below the video, make those monetary contributions to us. Or you can donate to me directly via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address, GROFFshow@gmail.com for PayPal. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation, my VIP, and of course, the proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle, check her out, check out her videos, linked up down in the description, and our streaming station available 24/7, 365. It is called KMGX. You might be wondering, what is this streaming station you talk about? What do you do there? Well, we play a ton of music, have a lot of fun with it, so I highly encourage you to go check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching, all of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please, please, please be safe. Stay cool, stay hydrated out there. And have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Tuesday.